during the pitches, we have, as I said, the French ambassador, Vincent Guérin, that is there, and he would like to say a few words. So, Vincent, if you have the, you unmute and you can have the floor.
Okay, merci beaucoup, Sophie. Donc, chers étudiants, hello everybody, bonjour à tous. And hello also to the members of the jury, the mentors, Sophie, Kathleen, our organizers. I would like indeed to thank you and congratulate you for your participation and your contribution to the Climathon, organized by the French Embassy in Ireland and What the Hack. For this semester, we have decided to focus strongly on climate with a cycle of events on the climate and community. Indeed, 5 years after the Paris Agreement and 10 years after the 2030 horizon, where the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations were drafted, the COVID-19 has highlighted, as we all have seen, our international interdependence, but also the possibility of reducing greenhouse gases. So I'd like to stress that France is very engaged on climate issues, and we wish to engage even further with our Irish friends in bringing forward the exceptionally important topic in our cooperation. And just to give you a few illustrations, back in January, we had the first Green Night of Ideas dedicated to protecting the planet. It was followed in January by a panel on city and climate action, where we had the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Mrs. Hazel Chu, and the Deputy Mayor of Marseille, Mrs. Rubirola, discussing and exchanging good practices for their very major city, port city, Marseille and Dublin, and trying also to see how sustainable city life can be developed in perspective of rising sea levels and rising temperature. And in May, we'll have a Franco-Irish conference in Dublin, which will bring together various political, economic, and cultural stakeholders. At this conference, we will reflect on the rise of environmental movement in France and Ireland, and will give a voice to young people who play a major role in the call for greater climate action. I'm also glad to remember all of you who are maybe not aware that in 2026, we'll have the so-called Celtic interconnector, an electrical cable linking France and Ireland. The two electrical grid will be plugged, and this will be a big boost for the production of renewable energy, in particular solar and offshore wind. And this will also greatly contribute to the greening of our energy and the greening of our economies. Now, last word on higher education. We're glad to see that all Irish universities reached the top 200 of the 2020 impact ranking from the Times Higher Education. And 5 of them are even in the top 100, generally contributing to the Irish plan on the UN SDGs. Since the 1st of March, you have committed yourself to issues surrounding climate action. And your campus, virtually all around Ireland, have been also very engaged in presenting and developing a solution around those issues. Now, you have a chance to develop deeper knowledge on the UN Sustainable Development Goals and other soft skills that will be necessary for your future career. And you also have a great opportunity to network with high-level people in Ireland and France and around. So I know that the pandemic took you away from your campus for a year now. Myself, I'm a father of students, and I know how difficult it is for your generation. And I understand now also the difficulty to continue to study and to commit to side activities online. This is why I congratulate you all the more on your commitment to this Climathon. Now, I look forward to hearing the solution and ideas you developed during those 4 weeks. And I would be very happy to welcome the winning team to the conference on the climate and community, which I mentioned, to present the projects to ministers and other distinguished guests from France and Ireland. We very much value your contribution to the strengthening of the already excellent relationship between France and Ireland. In particular, as of the 1st of January, France is now Ireland's closest EU neighbor, as is indicated behind me in Irish and English language. Next year, we will set up Franco-Irish Climathon, bringing Irish solution to France and vice versa. And we hope that we'll be able to join again. Now, I will not be able to stay the whole afternoon, but I'm glad to stay for the hours to come and glad to listen to your pitches. So good luck, try hard, and happy to engage with you today and later on. Et que le meilleur gagne. Back to you, Sophie.
Thank you so much that's the best way to kick off the hackathon and to give them an overview of every project that you're working on. That's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. And you heard this, people. You have an audience and we're very proud of you. So Caitlin, give you back the mic.
Awesome. Well, I was sneakily doing all the tech background. So yes, thank you again. And what a wonderful way to introduce our event, and a huge thank you to everyone at the French Embassy for being the initiators, the drivers behind what Sophie and I have said is probably some of the best results, results that we've seen in come out of one of these events for sure. You should all be super proud of yourself and super excited about what you have put together in the past month. Hold on, because you guys know I gotta have a few slides. So before we kick off, just so that everybody knows, anybody who hasn't been with us for the entire process, and just to drive home for the judges as well, how they have done all of this work in so little time. We've had 4 weeks. We started this the first week of March. We meet with all of the teams once a week for about an hour and a bit, and they have some meetings with their mentors outside of that. And then they work on their own. So they've put in hundreds of hours into this outside of their already busy schedules with schoolwork, etc. For the folks who aren't judges and who already know their own names, for the participants and anybody visiting, these are our judges, Kate, Ellen, David, Melanie, Laurent, and Jeanette. And I've told them, and will tell you guys as well, have the hardest job for sure today to decide between all of the great presentations and solutions. So with that said, with you guys all pumped up and I've hyped you up, now let's get into the fun part and see the pitches. So team number 1, you're up first. And I believe that is Bogdan will be sharing. So Bogdan, if you will put your camera on, share your screen, and once you're all set and ready to go, I will put 5 minutes on the clock. So you'll have 5 minutes to present, and then judges, you'll have a few minutes after that to ask questions as well. So Bogdan, are you there? Shout so that your camera comes up to the top of the screen for you. There you go. All right, you have 5 minutes. You are ready, set, go.
Hello, how are you keeping? My name is Bogdan and I'm representing the Energy Society NUIG. When brainstorming ideas for the Climathon, a prominent theme kept reappearing. Young people are the driving force in the fight against climate change. But with this responsibility comes the overwhelming pressure and concern. Our solution, EcoTracker, which provides the necessary resources for the users to start their sustainability journey via a step-by-step program. This is Sive, an NUIG student, who is active on social media. She sees the theories on doomsday and the images of polluted oceans, melting ice caps, and raging wildfires. Sive is overwhelmed and doesn't know the first step to take. Her guilt and fear are paralyzing, causing her to develop coping mechanisms like distraction, deflecting, and just pure numbing it out. Through the survey we conducted, we discovered 76% of young students stress about the climate crisis, The growing number of young people overwhelmed by climate change shows a direct link to the declining mental health of young people today. People like Sive often feel guilty. But to quote Susan M. Kroger, guilt is not a useful emotion because guilt is not motivating. But instead of guilt, we can reframe it as responsibility. Our solution, EcoTracker. We made it our responsibility to create a more sustainable way of life through manageable and attainable goals. The survey we conducted demonstrated almost 90% of participants are willing to change their habits, but costs and convenience plays a major role. They just need the first step. EcoTracker aims to create a tangible framework with building blocks to take users from beginner level upwards at a manageable pace, applying the facts that it takes 21 days to build a habit. Following this, a further 84% said yes to using our app on actively engaging on sustainability. This is without being aware of the amazing features our demo team presented. Key feedback we received that the app must be easy to use and very accessible. We looked at the gold standard of user retention and identified that Duolingo strategies fits our platform the best. Duolingo users spend on average 15 minutes a day in the app. That's what we're going to aim for. That's the industry standards. As the National Park City Galway champions, we have the available funding and the software development team ready to create our app. Our business model, the app needs users. We use ads to raise awareness of our product. The users engage with our app, creating a source of revenue for us. Our great features displayed in the demo help us achieve our goal and set us apart from competitors. A 2019 survey completed by 900 students by rewarding and encouraging their progress on their sustainability journey, and thus not adding overwhelming feelings. We plan to expand with up-to-date information on all available amenities and proximity for recycling and an item library in the local area to increase engagement with our ethos: repair, reuse, recycle. Thank you.
Bravo, and under time too. I love it. All right, judges, the floor is yours if you have any questions for team one. This is your time. I will set a timer for y'all as well, just in the interest of fairness.
Maybe I'll jump in there with the question. Thank you, Bogdan. That was a really good presentation. It's David here. Can you talk about some other competitors that you mentioned, how you'd be set apart from them? Like, what are the failings with other competitive solutions that you were able to find on the market?
The apps that we found were just things that you log. So sustainability activities that, oh, I put a cup in the bin and that's, I have to log that now. For us, it's a step-by-step program for people that want to live sustainably, but find it hard to manage, find information, and just hard to manage to live sustainably. This is a step-by-step program, and this, at the end of all the tasks and activities that they do, they will be able to live sustainably, and they don't have to log anything at the end of their day when they're tired and they don't want to do things. It's just a one tick and they're done.
Does that suggest then that you have a very short lifetime with these users? You know, once you've educated them step by step to the end of the program, they leave?
No, not at all. All the tasks are repeatable, and there's a leaderboard that we're heavily focusing on that you can complete with friends and family.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, just jumping in if there's time. Really excellent presentation. I'm just wondering, I was intrigued by your reference to Duolingo because I know a lot of people who use that. What are the kind of key lessons or elements of that you want to bring to this application?
There's actually a surprising amount of psychology behind Duolingo. There's the kind of their main area, their core focus is to gamify tasks, to not make it a chore and to just make it into a game. They have some gambling solutions, but we don't talk about those. It's for a good cause, so.
Yeah. Can I say something? Very, very quickly, I don't know how long we have. Yes, interesting presentation and interesting idea. Just two things. I think there's I'd like to know more on the adoption, and I agree with the first judge comment there that there needs to be something that keeps people going constantly, and that's really important if you want to get people to come back to the app. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about this, and if I may say so, you mentioned Duolingo. I would urge you to have a look at an app that is used for losing weight, but it's actually on gaming and like learning about food and stuff like that, and they could be applied to your to our purpose here. It's called Noom, Noom. So I really invite you to download it and subscribe to it and see how they manage those aspects that I've mentioned. But what would be your plan?
Our long-term plan would be developing the program. The software team that the national park has are extremely good, and we would separate ourselves from the competitors at that moment. So we would develop a way with the software team who are more experienced in software development, what works best for them. And just if we continue to interview and to look at reviews that's left and just implementing it back and just keeping on top of that, I think we'll be completely fine.
Very good.
We can have like a weekly challenge where, oh, the leaderboard, oh, he has saved this much amount of carbon over the week.
Okay, I'm gonna cut everybody off there, or else we'll be here till like Easter. So all right, thank you, Bogdan and Team One. Great work. Got the pressure and the relaxation of going first. So if you will unshare your screen, and who's presenting for Team Two? Harry, I believe.
Kathleen, can you remind us how much time we have? Because like I wasn't sure if I had the time to ask a question or not. And
you did, yeah. Don't worry. You got the judges. I give you roughly 4-ish minutes, but I'm more lenient with you guys.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Don't worry. So Team Two, if you'll share your screen.
Yeah. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, 1 second now. Yeah, you can hear me and everything, yeah.
Yep, you're all good. You have 5 minutes on the clock. Ready, set, go.
Hiya, I'm Les, the marketing officer, and this is Harry.
Hi, my name's Harry, and I'm the secretary of the group.
We're representing Group 2, Orla Murphy, our chairperson, and Evan Mahoney, our chief technology officer. We're here today to talk about our problem and solution that relates to Sustainable Development Goals 12 and 13, responsible consumption and production, and climate action.
We looked at the fashion industry, and more particularly fast fashion. Fast fashion can be defined as the large-scale consumption of cheap clothing in response to changing consumer trends. So we believe the lack of transparency is driving a lot of why fashion is such a big global emitter. Fast fashion, we found out, is quite complex. People are buying more now and consuming more now than ever have before. And we believe that if they had more information, that this would be greatly reduced. Plus, we have influences like people on social media who is encouraging us to buy new things all the time without fully understanding the true cost of the clothes we buy, because the information is not being disclosed to us in any meaningful way. So last year, according to the World Economic Forum, the fashion industry alone contributed 10% of humans' carbon emissions on the planet. Complementing this, fashion industry was the second largest consumer of the global water supply. So Liz is going to tell us a bit more.
Yeah, so to overcome these staggering statistics, we came up with a solution to increase transparency within the industry and to educate our consumers. We know secondhand platforms are becoming increasingly popular. We have the likes of Depop, Vinted, Any Wardrobe. Last year, we had 21 million users have signed up for Depop, and we know there's an appetite and consumers want to be more conscious and consumers are investing in the sustainable market. So that's when we come in. We feel like there's still a huge gap in transparency. Last year, the Fashion Revolution came up with a report and 255 of these retailers scored an average of 23% in the transparency, some even scoring as low as 0%. Some of the top designers are currently giving no detail about where their clothes are coming from. Now, I know what you're thinking, why would these big retailers be interested in, why would anyone be interested in this? Well, as consumers, we believe we are owed the truth. Take food, for example, we can pick up an Easter egg and see everything that goes into it, where it comes from. Why can't we see the same for clothes? And that's why we came up with this label. We chose 3 indexes, and which you can see here: kilometers traveled, water consumed, and energy used. And which would be tied to clothes in clothing stores and online. And it would come with a QR code where consumers can scan their phone and be directed straight to our app. And our app is, so our app is tied to, sorry, our app is, I'm like lost a thought.
Take your time, take your time.
So our app has many functions. We can see our friends' wardrobes, our wardrobes, and how much we're consuming. There's a healthy kind of competitiveness for our wardrobes to be more conscious. We'll be working with small enterprises, maybe like Aaron Jumpers, who would have lower emissions. Consumer will see the differences between, let's say, fast fashion and small enterprises and be interested in shopping more sustainably that way. Harry, would you like to tell us about our business model?
Yeah, so we would like to operate on a not-for-profit basis. We'd also like to use reusable material on the labels themselves. There's a company called Tara already doing this. In terms of consumer reach, we're hoping to appeal to the market of already growing secondhand shoppers on the likes of Vinted and Depop, because we know they'll already be interested in this kind of stuff. We're also, in terms of starting off our business, we'd be looking to connect with small, medium enterprises, like Liz said, the likes of Aaron Jumpers, whose environmental impact is lower off the start. So I suppose over this 4 weeks, we focused a lot on the solution. So the business model going forward is something we'll look more into. So to conclude then, we believe that overall, bringing more information to the consumer with ease of access will greatly reduce the fashion industry's impact on the world. So I'd like to thank everyone, and we'd love any questions. Yeah, thank you.
Just under the wire. Very good. All right, judges, you have your 4 minutes now. Ask questions as you like.
I would love to ask a quick question. I think it's a really great idea to bring some of the lessons of food labeling to fashion. But how did you think about how you were going to get this information for the products, given this lack of transparency from Zara? Per se, which doesn't have, at least publicly, information on the carbon footprint of per se of a particular product.
I suppose aside from this, so we looked at one of the ISO standards for our 3 key metrics, and yeah, you're right, the transparency is an issue. So I suppose we picked these 3 key metrics at the start because we think those 3 key metrics will be a good starting point in terms of the calculation. Now, we haven't looked into the deep nuts and bolts of that yet, but we believe by starting off with the few key metrics that are easy to understand, we can expand for them. And I suppose we'd be looking to push, if we start getting, say, consumers who are buying secondhand, if we start pushing this out, we believe it'll gather momentum, and hopefully there will be a law at some stage that brings it in, and we'll be able to help businesses out in that sense as well. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi guys, it's Alan here. Is there anything happening at EU level, for example, to impose this kind of regulation on the fashion industry? Because it strikes me that that regulation is really needed so that the industry signs up to this.
Yeah, so the ISO standard that we were going off isn't in regulation at the minute. But like I now this is my opinion, but I believe it'll be a matter of time. Like Liz was saying, on that transparency index, you know, the average is extremely low, and some companies scored 0% on overall transparency. Now they had their own metric of, you know, disclosing information. So I don't believe there's anything concrete at the minute, but I do believe it will be a matter of time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Judges, you have about a minute left if somebody has a quick question.
So, I mean, I'll have a quick one then. Have you considered then how to solve this issue of getting the information by introducing crowdsourcing? And if so, like, how do you think that could possibly work? You know, that's it seems to me that it is an issue you're gonna have to solve.
Evan here. I'm on team 2 as well. I might take this question if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think with supply chain optimization and all the work that's going into the global supply chain, there's never been a better time for a solution like this to be introduced. Everybody is so concerned with how things travel around, and we can see the impacts of, example, the Suez Canal being blocked and how that impacts the supply chain. So I think there is definitely key measurables that we can take from that tracking of the supply chain and use that to in turn to in our measurables. Does that kind of answer?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one to answer. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right, but I do think again that the idea is excellent. But yeah, it's where you get the data and how you communicate that data back to the users is the two friction points that you need to be solved. But
yeah, processing supply chain data from companies is definitely going to be a tricky part.
Yeah.
Is there any time left?
No, sorry.
Okay.
All right, thank you, team number 2. Team number 6, if you will share your screen, and we'll move on to the next one. And if anybody is wondering, we rearranged teams to make them a bit bigger, and we always have a few people drop out. So that's why there are a few numbers missing in the list. All right, if you'll put yourself in present, and then
hopefully you can all hear and see me.
Yep, you're all set. All right, you got 5 minutes on the clock. Ready, set, go.
Bonjour, Madame et Monsieur. Je vais présenter notre idée sustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present our idea for Team 6 Sustainable. As you heard earlier, it's Holly DePuer, Nathan Grasso, and myself. So through our research, in a nutshell, we came up with a problem, or we realized the problem was that engagement with sustainability initiatives is limited by awareness of such initiatives. While discussing early on the hackathon, noticed that a lot of our group members weren't aware of many of the great organizations and businesses in our community. We sent out a survey and noticed similar trends amongst the wider community. There was an information lag. While there is a growing community of environmental and sustainably conscious students, evidenced by the Greta effect, connecting students to organizations and businesses is often difficult. In our own survey, we found that greater than 50% of respondents only knew a few or none of the sustainability initiatives in their area, while in the same cohort, greater than 85% were concerned with environmental and sustainability issues. Information was separated and spread out across the internet. There were too many options, too many places to look. I'll give you an analogy. And it's a Friday night, you want to take away dinner, and you want to choose between an Italian or an Indian, but you don't know where to go. Do you look up the top 10 Indian restaurants in your area, on a website and then follow by that, look up the top 10 Italian restaurants in your area? No. You go to the one platform for both, Uber Eats or Just Eat, for example. We want to apply the same, the same principle to sustainability. And once again, by providing easy access as accessible information, we can increase engagement up to 95%. As my awareness increases, my control over my own life, my own being increases. Increasing one's awareness allows them to take control of their own life and life choices and enables students to become more engaged as a member of a sustainable community. This is where we come in, Sustainable. Our platform is an online website that provides a space for sustainability initiatives to be seen and engaged with by conscious consumers and rewards this engagement. It takes the stress out of searching many different pages on the internet for different sustainability initiatives in different sectors. What are the sustainability initiatives? We're focusing on three main sectors: food and beverage, tourism, and fashion and retail, also including news and events section. These are areas where we can see students can make sustainable life choices. So who am I? Who's the person that's going to be using this? I'm an 18 to 30-year-old student. I'm living away from home and I want to make sustainable life choices on a daily basis. The issue I'm facing is that I want coffee and I want to shop organic, but it's often difficult to find the same place. There's no central online location. Sustainable is the website that I'm going to use to eat, travel, buy. And best of all, I get rewarded the more I engage. We know that rewards work. Studies have shown that animals run faster to a treat the closer they get to the treat. Humans are the same. We'll buy more coffees the closer we get to 10 on a loyalty card. Sustainable will act the same way, creating greater awareness and engagement. For example, if you're in Ireland, you'll be aware of a Tesco Club card, or if you're in France, you'll be aware of Franprix Loyalty Club. Sustainable will give you 1 point for every time you choose to engage with one of our members on our website, and then after 10 points, you'll be able to avail of an offer from one of our member organizations. Once again, increasing engagement. This is our overall aim, to create a community, a sustainable community of businesses that can connect with users and students throughout Ireland. Creating a community such as Kinlay Hostel, the Union of Students in Ireland, and Sustainable Life School, all realizing our idea of an online community, creating a sustainable bubble for all. Thank you. Merci pour votre attention. And I'll accept any questions now.
I have one. I can see how it would benefit the students to have this access to the knowledge, but how can you encourage the businesses to put their information up here? What's in it for them? I know it's potentially more visibility, but how much are you going to be pushing and promoting their businesses, and do they have to pay for it as well?
Well, so we, as I mentioned, we like to consider ourselves a community. Businesses are going to be shown or showcased on our platform want to engage with sustainable consumers. They want a place that they can showcase their ideas in a sustainable community. That's our sort of unique selling point. There is no central location for all of these sustainable business to be connected with sustainable consumers. Initially, it's going to be, we haven't discussed a cost structure, and there has been a lot of interest already by businesses such as Kinlay Hostel, who would be delighted to be showcased on our platform, and even offered to be one of the rewards, providing a 10% discount for one of the rewards after people might get to 10. So the engagement or the interest is there. Right now we just want to make this community, we want to spread the word through, as you might have seen earlier, through the QR code and rewarding engagement. That will be showcased in each of the businesses so they can connect with our website as well and connect students through the community.
I can see how that will work, and I can definitely see how that's going to be instrumental into bringing people to you. But a lot of these businesses would have already had social media platforms and websites of their own with marketing strategies and targeting their audience through ads or campaigns of some description. How are you going to help them do that? Because that, you know, you're offering a service where you're going to be finding more sustainable, you know, students and an audience for them. So how are you going to bring those students to you, and how are you going to encourage the businesses who do sustainable stuff to come to you? There's got to be a reason why they're going to meet in the middle.
Well, like I said earlier, the problem was that, you know, if you look up for, if you want to make life choices, center life choices, in a number of different sectors like eating or shopping, there's no central location for that. There's no one platform, and we are that platform that provides the central location that's going to create awareness of sustainability initiatives. It's going to be centered around locations, and people in sustainable community want to provide support and awareness for other sustainable initiatives, whether it's in their own sector or not. So I think the community basis that we will create is really going to draw that attraction in.
Yeah, and just to complement what Melanie's question, how do you choose the businesses that you put forward? I mean, do they have to have a certain certification, or are you going to be choosing businesses that are, let's say, obviously kind of more sustainable, like vegetarian and vegan restaurants?
Yeah, so as Holly mentioned in the demo, there will be sort of a ranking system. So, for example, if you have a cafe that just has compostable cups, yes, they go off a sustainable initiative, but it's not the same level of sustainability as, say, a cafe that will have a zero waste program. So there is, and this will be different in different sectors. So there will be a ranking system based on how sustainable, based on a checklist. In the tourism sector, we're thinking of contacting, there is a Green Tourism Ireland board, and contacting themselves because they've got a checklist and certification process. Kinley Hostel is a member, so we'll hopefully getting in contact with them. That will be able to create a checklist for ourselves to rank businesses in the tourism sector. And then the fashion sector as well. Who knows, we could even...
Sorry, Oisin, I'm going to cut you off.
We can even connect with the other group and the fashion sector.
Sorry, just in the interest of fairness, so everybody gets the same amount total time to talk. Thank you, team number 6. And I'm sorry, judges who had other questions for team 6. Like I said, otherwise we'll be here till Easter because the teams are so good. So team number 7, you are up. If you will share your screen, I will put 5 minutes on the clock. And perfect. All right. And then if whoever's presenting will make a little bit of noise so that you pop up.
Yeah, so I'm here. Yeah.
There you are. Beautiful. All right. You have 5 minutes on the clock. Ready, set, go.
Welcome. We're Team 7. We're the Meat Consumption and Food Waste Squad. 14.5% of all CO2 emissions worldwide come from livestock, and these vary by species. Whilst cattle is responsible for over 5,000 CO2 equivalent of emissions, small ruminants like goats are responsible for far less, at about 600. So cattle is thus the major cause of CO2 emissions from livestock. It's also clear that certain regions are somewhat more responsible for CO2 from cattle than others, either because they produce more beef or more cattle milk for human consumption. In Western Europe, Ireland is one of the major players in this regard due to its dominant agricultural sector and beef and dairy production. Fortunately, interventions exist to help mitigate this problem. Recent research has shown that changing a cow's diet by replacing grass with forage mixture, for example, can reduce the amount of methane they produce in the gut as a byproduct of their digestion process. We will, however, focus on the other 2 solutions, reducing the consumption of meat and food waste management. We propose a phone-based app called AppAware to measure our food-based carbon footprint. This provides an opportunity to partner with existing app providers at Trinity College Dublin, Ethicart and Evoco, who do very similar things. While Ethicart helps busy people like us access information on an item's sustainability and ethical standards, Evoco scans receipts to calculate a product's carbon footprint. However, they both have drawbacks. While Ethicart scans the product barcode, it provides no suggestions on alternatives. And Evoco requires an image of the receipt before it can churn out a CO2 score. So with our product, we're going to address these issues and help to make these apps easier to use and more information rich. To end, we have a short video clip that will walk you through the process of what our app is designed to do.
According to the 2020 Climate Change Performance Index, Ireland is one of the worst countries in the developed world when it comes to responding to the climate crisis. Still, many Irish people surveyed in the 2019 Sign of the Times survey claimed that they wanted to help out but were unsure about how to do it. The information can easily become overwhelming and insurmountable. This is where App Aware comes in. App Aware will provide a service in the form of a phone app where users can go to measure their carbon footprint as well as learn ways to improve it and thereby become more sustainable shoppers. App Aware will focus primarily on meat consumption due to the enormity of the problem in Ireland. Users can assess the least environmentally harmful item on the menu by scanning items on their menu without the need for a barcode or a receipt, similar to the Google Lens application. It will provide suggestions on products of equal nutritional value with a lower carbon footprint. Once all the products are added to the shopping list, the user's carbon footprint can be tracked regularly. The app will also provide a feature that lets us know how to reduce our footprint further by reducing our food waste through composting. So in addition to helping to reduce meat consumption, the app will also provide geolocations of pooled composting facilities such as on our campuses where students can bring their food waste from home if not using the restaurants on campus. The carbon footprint calculator will explain the user's consumption by informing them how many households could be powered by the energy they have saved. This is in a bid to make the information more relatable and comparable. In addition, a simple and user-friendly interface will make consumers want to track their progress and get an idea of how much they have improved with regards to their sustainability. We would use Green Week as a chance to push schools and universities to encourage participation with regards to the app and believe this resource will provide information in an interesting way to those in education. Knowing the possibilities will help students make a conscious decision based on this information, and in time, students will be able to manage their household consumption effectively.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Sanga. I might just jump in very quickly with a question. How do you think about giving value on an ongoing basis to your users? Because the amount of times that a family, I guess, and that's the perspective I'm taking here, right? So a family doing grocery shopping, the amount of times that they substantially change the things that they buy is pretty infrequent. So if you tell me something new once, I'll be like, okay, cool, I'm done now. I'm not going to buy that beef anymore. And that's it. I've now not bought beef anymore. And what does your app do for me on an ongoing basis?
I suppose, yeah, there's so many options. Like in supermarkets, you get so many different options for the same item, right? And as we develop the app further, we might be able to kind of distinguish between brands and things like that. Like Ethicart and Evoco already do. They have brand-specific information. So you add value that way, by giving more information on the stuff that's out there. And yeah, I suppose what we're trying to do is make the apps that already exist simpler to use. So sometimes you would need a receipt to scan the receipt to get the information on CO2 carbon emissions. So what we're trying to do is bypass that and go straight to the image. So you don't need to print out a receipt, for example, because that's again wasting paper and ink and everything. So we're trying to make the process easier.
Okay. So it's an image recognition solution, really? I mean, is your customer perhaps technology companies who already have customers that they're trying to keep engaged and to make that process easier, rather than you inventing the wheel again?
Yeah, we're going to use the existing user base of people who are already using Evoco and Ethicard. That's the whole of Trinity College at the minute, so we can expand that to our own campuses, for instance, and go step by step, so campus by campus, and we can spread awareness on the what the app does and what it solves, and get more people involved.
Great, thank you, Sangha.
Hi, Sangha. How does Ethicart and Evoco feel about you sort of basically saying that their apps aren't good enough? Are you getting any support from them in doing this?
So the way we approach this is we don't say they're not good enough. They are providing a very important service. So what we're doing is adding functionality to make it easier. And we were in touch with the Trinity College student who was involved in the process, and she was delighted to kind of expand this further and take this on. So I don't think there will be definitely like a conflict of interest or anything like that. We're just trying to improve what's already there, get more people involved. So people always want that. The app developers also want that. So we have similar goals, I think.
Where do you see this in a couple of years' time? Do you think you'll get an API together and make this a whole unit in functionality?
I don't think we've done very long-term planning as of now. We're trying to kind of go the next step, get the image recognition to work at the beginning. And then the next step to that would be getting the composting, pooling stuff happening as well. So that's reducing the food waste bit. So what we are trying to do is basically not only just give you the carbon footprint, but help you reduce your footprint, right? So if you're buying meat, you can, but we're giving you options to kind of compost the waste afterwards and kind of reduce your total footprint from the purchase. So yeah, we're taking it step by step.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, team number 7. Great work. Thank you, judges, for your questions. Team number 9, you are up. If you'll share your screen. And good news for the judges, you are now halfway through. We have 3 more left, and then you can decompress.
Is this all working?
Yep. You put it
Hello?
into the set
Right.
for us. There you go. Perfect.
Yep, so this is we have to go to the first slide. I don't know if that's updating or not. Yep, thank you. Okay, so our app is going to be focused towards veganism, vegetarianism, and the effect on the environment. The problem is that livestock not only emits methane during the digestion. Next slide, again. Thank you. The problem is that the problem is that livestock not only emits methane during digestion and process, but clearly clearing land for cattle grazing also adds to greenhouse emissions, as seen in the chart to the left, which makes up to the 75% of greenhouse gas emissions in the average diet. Beef and dairy production had led to the reduction in biodiversity, soil fertility, and the quality of Ireland's waterways. Additionally, we have also taken into account the greenhouse gases emitted during the transportation of items such as meat and dairy. As shown, despite 83% of farmland, farmed animal products only provide on average 18% of calories and 37% of our protein intake, with a whopping 58% of greenhouse gas emissions. The cause of the problem is the large-scale demand for meat, as seen from the chart. Attainability of meat and dairy products are much easier to acquire than vegan and vegetarian options. There also exists a widespread lack of awareness for how much damage our heavily meat-based diet is causing to the environment. So on the side with the survey answer, if there was, we had an answer from one of our surveys and it said, to a question: are you vegan? And if no, are you vegan and vegetarian? If not, why? And the answer was, if I think about why I'm not vegan, my mind automatically springs to needing to find affordable food, which is where our app comes in. Via our app, we aim to educate people on why vegan and vegetarian foods are sustainable and how adopting a lifestyle can make a positive impact towards our environment. Our goal is to remove stigma that one needs fancy, expensive ingredients to be vegan or vegetarian. Instead, we want to prioritize the introduction of this lifestyle to our app. The product works because not only do we provide easy weekly recipes, but also highlight the amount of greenhouse gas emissions saved in order to educate and encourage students the continuity of this lifestyle. Our app also offers a social media component wherein users can post on social media using the weekly hashtags that are made available on the app that will enable a sense of community advocacy among students and help break the stigma around this lifestyle. Based on 65 responses, we can see that 91% are willing to take a step forward and create a positive impact on the environment by turning vegan and vegetarian. Short for time, students are often prone to taking the quickest option for making a meal, which is usually a takeout. When trying to make vegan and vegetarian meals, this might not always be an option. The app introduced the idea of pre-planning at least one meal a week, giving the users various meals to choose from, which are all quick and easy to make. Students do care for the environment, but often stumble upon how they can make a difference. Our app, The Weekly Veggie, allows students to take a multifaceted approach where it not only enables them to make a positive impact on the environment, but also helps them adopt a healthier lifestyle. I think there'd be a problem with the slide, but that concludes the presentation. Yep. Any questions?
Judges, do you have any questions for Team 9?
Yeah, I wondered if you could say anything about the business model of this project.
The business model. Sorry, can you just? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the term. What exactly do you mean by that?
So how would you create a revenue stream for the? Would you rely on advertising or something else?
Yes. So further on, like further down the line, we were thinking of introducing not just us as a group to introduce these new recipes, but to have other companies come in and kind of advertise their restaurants or their food providers of some sort or some form by posting recipes on there that are directed towards students. So hopefully that can bring in a revenue that way, but mainly for starters anyways, we're going to have it more of a campaign for the environment instead of a revenue gaining kind of app, but we will definitely try to pivot towards that.
Are there any other questions?
Yep.
If there are no other questions, we'll go on to Team 10. All right, thank you, Team 9. Team 10, if you will share your screen and we'll keep chugging along. All right, you have 5 minutes on the clock. Ready, set, go.
Good morning. My name is Cyrus, and I'm a representative of Team 10. Have you ever wondered what happens to the cup of coffee you have enjoyed and just thrown away? To place it in a street bin or to litter one's surroundings can negatively impact the environment, more clearly on animals, such as this rabbit, which might die because it got stuck in a disposable cup. Therefore, our aim at BioCup is to take a stand against the inappropriate disposal of single-use cups by promoting the alternative of compostable and reusable cups nationwide. Our team is composed of us three, as you can see in the slide. We are passionate about having a positive impact on the environment and motivated to bring our idea into reality. To provide some context on where this comes from, on average, 2 million disposable cups are used every day in Ireland. Moreover, 2% of national non-household curbside waste is single-use cups, which totals to 14,000 tons per year. A survey from the EPA showed that only 29% of the population would put throwaway cups correctly in the residual bin, 52% in the recyclable bin, 5% in the organic bin, and 4% do not know. Consequently, even if non-reusable cups are believed to be recyclable and discarded in the recycling bin, they will make their way into the recycling stream, polluting other recyclable materials since they are not readily recyclable. Besides, whenever a customer gets rid of one in a street bin, it fails to enter the recycling stream and will be sent to landfills or incineration facilities. Therefore, the main problem is the general acceptance of the usage of disposable cups because they are comfortable, convenient, and easy to use when enjoying a takeaway beverage. However, at the same time, consumers do not often consider their negative impact on the environment and continue this damaging practice. This attitude is normalized in society and it requires immediate action. For that reason, we have designed a bin and an application that rewards customers for positive actions on the environment, such as buying coffee from a participating cafe that uses our compostable cups, and then disposing of the compostable cup in our special bins. That ensures it goes into a composting facility, or you can even use your own reusable mug to buy takeaway beverages. Then the compost produced by the system can be used to fertilize the city green areas. As you can see in this graph, the use of compostable packaging is on the rise and will continue rising in the years to come. This is great. However, there is one major limitation. There is no point in using compostable cups if they are not being adequately managed by the waste system. Throwing them into a street bin or your backyard without the appropriate equipment will not work. That is why we have developed this service that rewards customers for doing the right thing, which implies buying from recognized shops that use compostable cups and throwing them into our bins to be composted in a proper facility. To get the customer perception of our product, a survey was performed through social networking services and positive feedback regarding our idea was received. 87% of our respondents find the idea appealing and would consider using our service, and 83% believe they would use our service. On the other hand, since the aim is to implement the solution on campus, the University Green Campus Office assessed the idea as positive when it comes to offering discounts and using an application to manage them. On the contrary, they were reluctant on the bins since there are already compost bins placed around the campus. However, from visual observation, these can only be found outside food outlets, which is insufficient for avoiding that the cups end up in the street bins. Furthermore, they feel that the expense of placing them might not be profitable. Therefore, a compactor will be added to the bins to replace the cost of the new bins with a reduction of the number of times it needs to be emptied. Our main audience is takeaway beverage consumers. Examples include students, people on the go, or even people who wish to drink coffee, knowing that they are making a positive impact on the environment. The natural workflow when a person consumes a takeaway beverage is the following. Therefore, for the product to be integrated into their daily lives, the bins need to be strategically placed such that the consumer does not need to spend a lot of time looking for the appropriate bin. All in all, just because it has been normalized that people enjoy takeaway beverages on inappropriately recycled disposable cups does not mean that no one should challenge such an idea. That's why at BioCup, we aim to help people enjoy their takeaway beverages while reducing their impact on the environment and even giving back to it. And although as a team, we may not have all the answers, we are willing to put in the work so that we can find them to make a difference. Thank you for your attention. We hope you have enjoyed our presentation. And if you have any questions, we will be glad to answer them.
Thanks, guys. That was a really good presentation. Just so I understand, and this is sort of a follow-on question from the demo and I suppose the pitch there, is the only way to unlock the bin to allow me to put a cup into it if I've bought it from one of your suppliers, somebody who is a partner with your scheme?
Yes, actually, that was the idea, because we want to avoid that people can throw items into the bins that are actually not compostable. So we decided that we are going to add a QR code to the cups sold by coffee shops affiliated to our service, so that whenever they get scanned, they can then go into the bin, but only in the case.
If I have a compostable cup that I got from some other retailer, I can't use your bin.
Yes, exactly. That's why we would like to ideally get as many coffee shops to collaborate with our service as possible.
Yeah, well, that fixes your problem, but it doesn't fix my problem if I have a cup that I need to get rid of.
No, of course not.
Okay, thanks. This is a great presentation, guys. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I ask if the lids are compostable as well?
Yes.
Yes, they are also compostable. They can be made out of cornstarch, which is compostable as well and biodegradable and stuff. So yeah, it'll also work. There's no problems or issues there. We researched that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions for Team 10?
Yeah, very quickly. What if I already have my cup? I'm doing something for the environment. You're not really incentivizing me to do anything better.
If you already have a reusable cup, you mean?
Yeah, I use my cup. I bring it to the campus, and you know, I never throw anything in the bin.
Yeah, we are also providing benefits for the people who bring their own reusable cup. The shop where you're going to get your coffee is going to give you a QR code to scan, so that you can also get the benefits even if you have not used a compostable cup.
Very good, thank you.
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you, team number 10. Thank you, judges. We are on to team number 11. This is our last pitch of the afternoon. So here we go. Shake off a bit. Get ready for your last one. And team number 11, you have 5 minutes. Ready, set, go.
Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Louise and I'll be representing my team today. Our pitch is on how to reduce the consumption and waste of paper within universities and eventually universally. So when we first approached this problem, we immediately look into how to solve it. However, we need to ask ourselves some questions first. How can we reduce the overall paper consumption within universities in Ireland? And then how can we reduce the wastage from this paper consumption we have created? Now let's look at the facts. We were able to get in touch with the Maynooth University IT department, and from then we were able to discover that a regular academic year IT service printers spanning from the library to OLIS purchases 400 boxes per year, each of those boxes containing 2,500 sheets, adding up to 1 million sheets of paper. That costs approximately €6,000 or just under 2 student fees. Is it safe to assume that 70% of that goes in the bin at the end of the academic year? Absolutely. This is just IT services alone. It doesn't account for individual faculty offices or other printing services on campus. More importantly, let's look at the environmental impacts that paper consumption has. Seeing that a massive 1 million sheets are used in the IT services alone, we'll look at the bigger picture. A tree gives around 10,000 sheets of paper, according to RibblePack. 15.3 billion trees are chopped down annually, 60% of them for paper. 1,530 billion kilograms of oxygen, which could have been produced by those trees, now obsolete. Unable to be produced for our carbon dioxide rich planet. On top of all of this, 26% of total waste in landfills is made of unrecycled paper, just sitting with all that waste, which is a topic for another day. With all of this information, Team 11 hopped into action. We made a survey which was shared on Instagram, Snapchat, university WhatsApp groups, and within our lovely Discord. A total of 120 responses were given back to us. This survey consisted of 10 questions regarding paper waste and usage within the average life of a university student. For the interest of time, I'm going to share with you a couple results from that survey. The first graph here was titled, "Would you consider taking digital notes?" An overwhelming 52.6% said that they would. 23.7% said no, and the rest maybe. This tells us that more than half students are willing to take the extra steps to reducing paper waste. Another one was, how many pages do you print off at home per week? Thankfully, this question did not apply to the majority of our surveyors, but the most common answer after that being less than 10 sheets per week. A good start. So how can we solve this issue? Well, after research and consideration, we deduced that there are two routes for us to take, a digitally implanted one or a physical approach. If we were to take the online path, we agreed that the website application named Mindstone would be the best way to go. Until July 2021, it is free for registration, and from chatting with one of the co-founders, Patrick Coutts, it's open for partnership with universities after this date. Some of the features include a library, implemented note-taking within PDFs, and opportunities for shared insight among students. However, it should be noted that being an online format, as we all know, can allow for some distractions for students. So the Remarkable 2 tablet is a physical solution. Although it's a more expensive route at €399 per tablet and €59 per pen, there are ways around purchasing one for every student. The Maynooth Library offers laptop renting schemes, which could allow for this to be implemented with it. The tablet looks and feels like paper. Its only functions are note, annotation, and taking. It's designed for distraction-free work, and its integrated sharing makes a bridge between the tablet and your own devices at home. Upload your handwritten work digitally. It would allow for a monumental reduction in paper waste and save €6,000 on paper in the academic year. So what changes are needed? We need a total overhaul on the university's outlook on paper consumption and waste. We need a commitment to reducing that consumption. We need to open up options for students so that they can take the right steps in reducing paper consumption. We should be inspired and take ideas from the global changes which COVID-19 has paved the way for. And we, the students, need to be heard on our ideas for paper consumption and how we can reduce it. I'm now going to pass you over to Abby for questions. Thank you.
Great work. Judges, if you have any questions.
Hi, it's Alan here. If I follow, you're suggesting to promote the use of Mindstone, which maybe is an already kind of mature product, and to use within your university. Is that the proposition here?
Yeah, so the idea would be, instead of having all your random pages in a folder, having notebooks and wasting paper, you have Mindstone. Especially, it'd be very good, especially during coronavirus. We're sitting at home, we're looking at our slides on our computer, we're writing things down on a notepad, or at least I am. Mindstone allows you to upload, you've got your slides in front of you, and you've got a section beside you that you can take your notes on in your own words, in like it correlates to what's in front of you instead of using paper.
Okay, and what, I suppose you're creating awareness within your university of the possibilities around Mindstone. But what's the value add of your team to the Mindstone product?
Well, I suppose to campaign for the use of it.
Okay.
Our university doesn't have anything. We use Microsoft. Our university provides Microsoft for us, but we don't have anything that helps us take our notes. We just have to use paper. And the idea would be to campaign to our university to get Mindstone usable as a university as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I just wanted to pose a question. For a lot of people, to retain information is to hear it auditorily and write it down, which then becomes something that they're doing and something that they're seeing, and that helps them retain the information. By moving it over to a digital platform, you're actually taking away the writing that helps people mind map the information that they're absorbing. Do you feel that this will actually reduce people, understanding what they're, remembering what they're learning?
Oh, we wouldn't be making it, like, it wouldn't be compulsory. It's completely optional. People that want to be more aware environmentally can use it, but if someone obviously really needed to write it down, they can use their paper. And Mindstone does have that feature that you can type your own notes. So you're looking at the slides, you're listening to your lecture, you can still write down in your own words what you want. It's just you're not doing it on paper, you're doing it on a screen, but the option for paper would still be there. It's completely optional.
And what about people with dyslexia? Does Mindstone help with that as well?
I don't believe there's any features. They're still working on implementing features like referencing and things like that. It'd have features like autocorrect, same as Word, but it wouldn't have any extra help.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
No problem.
If there are no other questions for Team 11, then...
maybe just one for me again, Caitlin, sorry. So if the idea is to raise awareness and promote this software within the university, did you engage with the university IT services team, and do they have an opinion on this?
Lauren actually did. If Lauren wants to hop on, she was talking to IT about the paper usage. So I'll just get her to answer that if that's okay.
Of course. Yeah, I was in touch with our IT services on campus, and I managed to speak to one of their kind of higher up people, and they were also, because they hadn't really thought about it, so they were quite shocked at the amount of paper that they were using. And of course, reducing any fees that the university has to pay is a positive for them, and they kind of expressed that to me, because €6,000 in Maynooth University fees, that's 2 students in fees, which could go towards other stuff. It could go towards better resources for us anyway. And that's just in our IT services alone. It doesn't, again, as Lulu mentioned, it doesn't cover individual offices or even just other parts of the university. It's just one area. So it could be definitely in talks with kind of reducing that amount. And of course, us being a green university as well, we kind of would look towards finding solutions on making ourselves more environmentally aware and everything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you, Team 11, and thank you to all of the teams for your wonderful presentations. They were beautiful, they were wonderful, and your solutions that you've presented. So judges, if you will hop over to the judges chamber back in Discord where we met at the start of our marathon of presentations. And now for the participants and our visitors, if you want to stay here, Dara, there he is. Is going to talk a little bit about his kind of journey within entrepreneurship life. And he also requests that you all put your cameras on if you can, because talking to a blank screen is never fun. So if y'all throw your cameras on if you can, and I will be back in a few with the judges, and I'll see you soon, and Sophie will take over.
Yes, thank you, Caitlin. So yes, for all of those who want to stay, because you have to stay because you can't really go anywhere, and I'm sure you want to know who is the winner. We have some interesting people to talk about their journey as entrepreneurs and future leaders, as you are all, guys, because what you did is great. Like you took a month of your